Good afternoon. This is the regularly scheduled meeting for the Caldwell Hearing Examiner for Wednesday, September 8th, 2025. Or I think it's the 9th. Go the wrong date? Yes, 9th, sorry. Prepared yesterday. This is a public hearing, and my name is Sabrina Durchie. I'll be serving as your hearing examiner today. My role is to hear quasi-judicial matters concerning specific land use applications within the city of Caldwell. During this process, we'll accept oral public testimony from those who are present and have signed in the sign-up sheet to speak, which is located at the front of the room. When you are called to testify, please approach the podium, speak clearly into the microphone, and state your full name and address for the record. All comments must be directed to myself and should remain relevant to the application up under consideration. The hearing will proceed as follows. City staff will present their report. The applicant or the applicant's representative will be given 10 minutes to speak. We will then open the floor to public testimony, which each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. And then after public testimony, the applicant or the applicant's representative will have 5 minutes for rebuttal. Once rebuttal has concluded, I will close the public hearing, and at that point, no further oral or written testimony will be accepted unless the hearing is formally reopened. I ask that all participants treat one another with fairness and respect, and as required by Idaho State Code, written minutes for this hearing will be recorded. Therefore, please ensure your cell phones are silenced. And thank you. So let's start our hearing for today. As far as the consent calendar, we had an action item to approve the July 22nd, 2025 hearing examiner meeting minutes, which we took care of. We have no old business, and so we are on to our one business item for today. This is a public hearing, case number SUP 25-04. Applicant Connor Lindstrom of KM Engineering on behalf of TC Property Management LTD is requesting a special use permit to expand the existing Canyon Springs RV park. The expansion will include 41 additional RV spaces and add a passenger vehicle parking lot. The parcels are zoned C3. The site is 6.44 acres and is located on the east side of the intersection with Gravel Lane and approximately 1,500 feet west of the intersection with I-84. And with that, would staff like to present their staff report, please?
Thank you, Madam Hearing Examiner. Garlene Davis, Planner 1, 205 South 6th Avenue. The subject site consists of 5 adjoining parcels located west of the I-84 exit 26 on the Centennial Way, US 2026 interchange in Caldwell. The subject site is surrounded by a variety of land uses, such as vacant industrial land to the north, vacant county land, and an outdoor shooting range to the west, and the existing RV park and vacant county land to the south, commercial uses, and county land to the east. The subject parcel is located adjacent to the existing Canyon Spring RV Park. They were annexed into the city of Caldwell in 2022 under application number AN 22-023 with the C3 general commercial zoning district designation. The existing RV park was already developed at the time of annexation, and there was no previous SUP for it. Today, the applicant's request is to expand said RV park with 41 additional RV spaces and a passenger vehicle parking lot. The passenger vehicle parking lot has already been approved under application, CD, application number CD 24-025, and is, per my knowledge, already under construction. The comprehensive plan map designate the subject site outlined in red as employment center. The surrounding designations include employment center to the northwest and south, with a mix of employment center, community center, and mixed-use center to the east. The employment center designation is intended to provide a strong employment base for the community. It supports a range of uses, including light industrial, flex office, warehouse, and commercial services. The site's general commercial C3 designation is compatible with this designation. The RV park use is a temporary residential use that is considered a commercial activity, as it is an activity that is where fees are charged for occupancy and related services. Therefore, staff finds that the proposal is consistent with the employment center place type. According to the Caldwell City Code, the purpose of the C3 General Commercial Zone, the purpose is to provide an area by zoning procedure in accordance with the comprehensive plan that can accommodate a wide variety of retail, personal service, office, restaurant, and commercial services, primarily within and along Caldwell's major corridors that primarily serve the city and the region. And in accordance with the zoning regulations, the RV park use requires an SUP within the C3 zone. The applicant is not requesting a rezone of the parcel, and per staff, the proposal is consistent with the intent and purpose of the C3 zone. Public agencies were notified of this public hearing. ITD, Caldwell School District, and the Mapping Department have no issues with the proposal. The Fire Department and the Engineering Department have reviewed and indicated approval of the proposal and have provided conditions of approval. And we have received no comments from the public. The project has been analyzed for compliance with the city's specific provisions for RV parks, and staff finds that the project meets all city zoning ordinance for the RV park specific use, including specification for RV space area and width minimums, RV space separation and ground cover minimums. Adequate parking spaces are provided for passenger vehicles. All necessary utilities are or will be available as outlined in the engineering staff report, and will be or must meet City of Caldwell requirements. The project includes landscaping along Chicago Street, US 2026, gravel lane, and internal parking lot landscaping in the passenger parking lot. However, today, the hearing today will not be approving landscaping for the landscaping along Chicago and the internal parking lot, because those have already been approved with CD 24-025. And it will also not be approving landscape buffer along US 2026, because the applicant has requested a deferral of the installation of that buffer due to the fact that the city is in the process of determining arranging a new pathway and trail master plan for that area, and until the city has a better view of the pathway for that area, the installation has been deferred for this project. And the site has a current berming, so the director has agreed to have the installation of the landscape buffer along US 2026 deferred for the moment. However, we will be reviewing the landscape buffer along Gravel Lane. That's the only one we'll be reviewing today as part of this SUP. And as it stands right now, it is non-compliant as it does not include sod. However, per my conversation with the applicant, they have agreed to include 20 to 50% ground cover of sod in that area, and that will be formalized in the approval document today as one of the conditions. So, staff recommends that should the hearing examiner approve the specific use permit today, such approval be subject to the conditions as specified in the findings of fact, as specified in the conclusions of law and order of decisions. With that, I will sing for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Garlene. I do have some questions on the deferral. So it sounds like we don't want them to install anything because we don't know what our master plan is going to be showing. So there's going to be potentially a pathway that's going to be located in that area.
There will be a pathway, yes.
So if it's being deferred, are they going to be putting up an assurity, a letter of credit, something to obligate them to actually finish it? What's the director's plan on making sure that gets finalized and finished?
Madam Hearing Examiner, great question. My understanding is that because the scope of the master plan is so large, there is not any requirement to do a bond or a surety or anything like that for this, but that the condition of approval reads that if we don't do it, then they will, kind of a thing, and if not, then their SUP can get revoked. So, but there will
Okay.
be no bond in lieu of, I guess you could say, as part of the deferral.
So when are you, so either the city of Caldwell will be putting in the pathway and the landscaping, or the applicant at a later time will have to do this?
Correct.
And that'll be determined by planning staff at some point?
Yeah, coordination of planning and engineering as we figure out the corridor.
Okay. Because what happens if they are built out, they're finalized everything, and then you guys go back to them and like, oh, hey, that pathway, you guys need to put it in. I mean, everything's done, then how are we going to assure that?
Thankfully, most of it, if not all of it, should be out of their property, if not within the right-of-way, and so there will be room for them to do those improvements still.
Okay,
And so there shouldn't be an impact to their actual site that they've proposed today.
okay. And then one more question about the landscape plan. So they need to add additional sod along Gravel Lane. Is that going to be something that we'll ask them to provide updated landscape plans prior to any issuance of building permits?
Yes, that is one of the, Madam Hearing Examiner, thank you. That is one of the conditions of approval that I preemptively included in the approval documents. You can review or amend.
Okay,
We included it before COVO is signed. They need to install it.
okay,
That's our assurance for it to be
okay,
installed.
okay, great. I think that's all the questions I have for staff. Would the applicant or applicant's representative like to come up? Hello, state your name and address for the record, please.
AM Engineering, 5725 North Discovery Way, Boise. I am representing the property owner on this project, and I'm a land use planner with KM. And so I thank you to Garlene. She did a fantastic job. I don't hopefully need to go into too much more detail. I do have a presentation. It's a lot of the same info though, so I'll go through it pretty quick. If you want to go to the next slide for me. So yeah, the vicinity map just kind of shows there are 5 parcels here, kind of in a unique shape, but the 5 parcels in total are 6.44 acres. Access is coming off of Highway 2026 as well as Gravel Lane, then as you come through the site off Spring Lake Drive in Chicago. So currently, this park is a very nice park. It has a lot of amenities in place and quite a few RV parking spaces already, 164 if I'm correct. So this will be an additional 41 spaces to the site. There's a clubhouse already on site. We have plenty of recreation spaces. You know, there's shower service, restroom services, laundry, exercise, even a fishing pond, and some outdoor, courts and fields and such. So it is a great amenity to the area, and Ted and his team are looking to add a improved product to allow for more folks to come and rent RV spaces on the property. So the zoning map here, as Garlene has already stated, we're in that commercial area C3. We believe that this use fully aligns with the zoning map and the future land use map as well. Our site plan, as you can see here, shows the 41 spaces. We do have our main access off of Chicago Street. You'll note on the site plan kind of that hashed area of Chicago Street as it goes west over to Gravel Lane. I don't know if I can point, but yeah. That area there, that's future expansion area. And so I'll briefly explain that. So when Ted's property was annexed into the city, there was a service agreement that was in place, like a development agreement between the city and him. And in that agreement, it talks about Chicago Street to be, extended in the future for access through the area. But it did kind of leave it up to Ted on when he wanted to develop that as needed. So with this 41 space expansion, he is not proposing to extend that throughout this time. So that's why it says future expansion area, okay. But we left it on there to show what it could look like. And so access will still take place for this expansion area from the small portion of Chicago Street there in the southeast corner. Did I do that? Well, anyways, and there will be an emergency access drive for emergency services off of Gravel Lane as well, with some removable bollards there.
Okay.
That'll act for, if there was some sort of fire up in the north portion or people couldn't get through, that would allow for better access through the site. I'd like to also note, the parking lot that was mentioned by Garlene. So that's just east of this expansion area. That parking lot will be for passenger vehicles. It was already approved, construction documents were already approved, and that is actually under construction right now, but we did include it in our application just to show that there is ample parking for passenger vehicles for any overflow. Each space, if I go forward, will have an RV pad. It'll have an option there for a passenger vehicle to park, but any overflow could park in that passenger vehicle area that I notated to the east. We're meeting all the space requirements. We worked closely with staff to come to some solutions here. This really closely resembles what's already existing at Canyon Springs RV. We'll have a turf strip there. We'll have our hookups. There'll be usually Ted's team, they put out some sort of picnic bench or patio table for folks to have space to sit. And with the turf area too, we'd question whether or not to do grass or turf. It made sense to do artificial turf because grass you have to water. Often it'll get muddy throughout the winter. It gets torn up by vehicles pulling in. So the turf will be a nice solution for long term. And then lastly here, the landscape plan. So I have some blow-ups here. The blue area is kind of describes what's going on with 2026. I think Joe did a great job of kind of explaining the nuance behind that. We're not looking to put in landscaping along there and then have it ripped out when the pathway goes in. So yeah, Ted's team is willing to work with the city moving forward, but we like to defer that landscaping along there. And there is an existing berm, so there will be screening in place for now, but in the future, willing to add landscaping as needed as Ted works with the city. And then along Gravel Lane, that's the red box there. So I know Garlene had mentioned a condition of approval about the ground coverage of sod. We actually already updated our landscape plan to meet that. The landscape buffer, we're well over the required sod requirements, and Ted will make sure to work with the city for plantings as needed going forward. And ultimately, our recreation area, that was another thing. We had to make sure that we were meeting the recreation space requirements, and we're over by about 75,000 square feet of recreation space. So, like I said, this is a great project, and I'm willing to stand for questions. Ted and his team is here too if you have any RV park specific questions that I can answer.
Sure. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you.
So let's talk about Chicago Street. So it's going to be not happening now, it's going to be happening in the future, but is there a timeline on when to expect that?
Not that I'm aware of. Ted, do you have any kind of timeline or thoughts?
Good afternoon.
Hi,
I'm
Ted.
Ted Caldwell.
Give me your address, please.
Okay, as far as the timeline.
Oh, address real quick.
Oh, my address, P.O. Box 38 in Davis, California, 95617.
Thank you.
And my family did not come from the city of Caldwell, so there's no
It's
relation.
not named after you?
As far as the extension of Chicago, we will do that once we're basically obligated to do it. And
Okay.
that will occur once the city obtains the right to cross over Rambo Lane. That's going to require Tim Rambo to either agree with the city to allow the extension to cross, or the city is successful in an eminent domain action.
Okay. So I see Haley's a little anxious. Her mic's on. Haley, do you want to talk about that real quick?
Yes, Sabrina, and Ted Caldwell, it's nice to actually see you face to face.
Hi.
We've been working closely with Mr. Caldwell, with Urban Renewal District, with Public Works Department, and with Economic Development as far as the Chicago Street extension. Mr. Caldwell has been working very well with us on this, and so as he stated, we are determining when that extension is going to take place. We're still in negotiation with Mr. Caldwell and with the Urban Renewal District as to how and what the funding mechanism is going to look like for this extension. So
Okay.
it's just actively under negotiation
Okay,
right now.
okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Haley. And then I'm glad you're up here because I just want to discuss the deferral of the landscape at front. So I understand Joe's explained it to me that most likely when the pathways are required, the city of Caldwell will come in. But if they don't, then you'll be obligated to put in the landscape at some point. Is this what is do you understand this? I'm assuming you understand this. Do you have a plan if this is needed?
Well, we would need to be in agreement as to the scope of the landscape. And that has not yet been determined as far as I know.
Okay,
But the concept is fine.
okay,
And you know, we've moved well to get ahead here in the city of Caldwell because everybody's cooperated both ways. City with us and us with them. And it's worked so far, and I think it should continue to work out.
okay. That sounds good.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that works. I just want you to be aware that if City Caldwell doesn't put it in, then it's deferred, it'll be your responsibility to landscape the frontage, so,
Well, as long as it doesn't cost too much, Sabrina.
yes. Understand.
Okay.
I think those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
All right. Is there anyone else? I have a Grace Bouchard. Would like to, no, I'm going to just mark do not speak. We already have Ted. And Stephanie Blake, would you like to come up and speak on this matter? Okay, I'll mark you do not speak. Okay, is there anyone else in the audience? Okay, it doesn't look like that, so I'll close the public hearing and render a decision of, based on the staff report, findings, and testimony provided today, I will approve the SUP 24-014. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And we will close our public hearing for this afternoon. It is 1:59 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.